Coming to you from depressingly sunny London, without the golden lollipop, without hope in our hearts, and without claims to being the best, but still with the ugliness, arrogance, and lack of grace that comes with the passport. South Africa reunite the nation and possibly the rest of the cricketing world with a stunning come-from-behind upset result in the World Test Championship final. How did it all go so right? Add this to the list of drought-breaking championships in 2025. Newcastle United, Crystal Palace, Harry Kane... Crystal Palace, Harry Kane, Tottenham, PSG, RCB, South Africa, all in the same year. What a time to be alive. Well, the new cycle starts this week. There's the massive England and India Test Series starting on Friday in Leeds. A fresh start under a new captain against an old foe that is now salivating at the prospect of Australia being the new Dad's Army. There's also Women's World Cup news. Babar Azam joins the BBL and the MLCs with Billy Bean. Ask TGC before we fly home back to cold, miserable, sad, golden lollipop-less Melbourne soon. This episode is brought to you by SwiftX. Kick off your crypto journey with SwiftX. Join SwiftX and get $20 in Bitcoin for new customers only by using the link in the show notes of this episode. Pezza, for people watching, just tell some people where we are.
Oh, we're in Hyde Park, historic Hyde Park, home to literally the Crystal Palace was built here.
I call them Crystal Paris.
That's right. You spent some time in China. Now, it's a beautiful Monday. There's a gentle, lilting breeze. The fierceness of the sun is commensurate with the fairness of the skin. That is, 25 degrees is just enough. It's just enough, and it feels nice.
Soft glow, isn't it?
It is. It's a soft glow. The grass is soft and well tended to. Only 2 kilometres away is the hotel that the Australian men's cricket team stays in, and this is a team that's the worst that's ever been sent from our shores overseas. Are they the worst team to leave our shores?
Yeah. Well, in terms of blokes, yes.
Yeah.
No question.
We were picketing the hotel just before. Very strange scenes.
Yeah. We're trying to find George Bailey to get his head on a pike.
Got to stop saying that.
We're going to cut his head off and put it on a pike outside the hotel.
Yeah, got to say, you know, like, for all the magnanimity around South Africa's achievement, its meaning for the macro issues and trends in global cricket, the way that they dunked on anybody who suggested they wouldn't be shot in this game, and just the questions that it raises around, you know, how, you know, their threes team that was sent to New Zealand actually ends up winning the World Test Championship final, and unearths a few plays during it. Yeah. For all of that, it's an Australia focus here, you know, and I'm calling for baby out of the bathwater.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because like the story of the game itself and all the lead up was about South Africa, and now they've won it. It's like, yeah, that's all well and good. What does this mean for Australia? You know, does the fall off need to be studied, etc. And I suppose that's what this show is going to be. The fall off will be studied.
I mean, you know, the team's given us like 5 years of some of the greatest. It's just been a wonderful, loving relationship with some very, very dependable missionary sex, and you know, I got, as the Black Seed sang, I got the wandering eye.
I spent some time in Amsterdam. I walked down some streets, saw some women in the window. I thought, I'll have a look at that now.
And there are journos everywhere. In the Lord's press box after the game, I heard broken keyboards. There were journos bashing fingers into keyboards because now there are questions to be asked. You know, and we'll jump on that as well. We'll jump on that, despite supporting it for 5 years. One mistake here, boys. One mistake here, boys, and I'll tell you what I've always known, you know, that we were right all along around all these changes that needed to be made.
Yep, that's right. Hey, if you are, we are heading home back tomorrow for about 12 days or so back to Australia before we come back again. And the reason we're coming back again is because we're going to perform live in 2 cities, Birmingham and London. We have got our special guest, Jimmy Anderson, on stage with us in Birmingham. That's on July 3 at the Town Hall. And then 10 days later, we're playing at the EVENTIM Apollo there in Hammersmith, July 13. That is with Stuart Broad. Having a bit of a chat to Broady the last couple of days. Nice to meet him in the flesh. First time we've actually met him in the flesh. And we're all looking forward to it, shall we say?
Yeah.
We're all looking forward to it. So tickets are available at gradecricketer.com. Obviously, the new Test series, which we are covering, we are going to be covering the England-India Test series and also Australia and the West Indies and Australia, sorry. But we'll be doing the first Test match from here, then we come back for Edgbaston and for Lords before going home again. So if you want to come and see us live on stage, and we'll still be wallowing in the depressingness of South Africa doing this amazing, remarkable, tremendous thing for the game. Come and see us live. Tickets are available at gradecricketer.com. And if you don't want to see that, just stick around for the guests, because they're amazing guests. Two of our best ever guests, I reckon. And so looking forward to it. So there is also a link in the description of this video for the tickets. So if you want to jump on there, bring some friends, have a good time. They are some of the wildest, funnest nights that we get to have doing this. So yeah, come along and see us. Shall we? We'll talk about the World Test Championship final.
I guess so.
So Australia was sent into bat. They made 212. Then they bowled South Africa out for 138. Australia then made 207, meaning South Africa needed 282 to win. I believe that is the equal second highest successful run chase at Lords, and they did it 5 wickets down. But they also did it on their dicks. It was incredible for us to be there for the 3.5 days that the Test match was on. The vibe in the ground was just nothing short of tremendous, to be honest. I know there's been some chat in the day's post about where the next one's going to be. I know India want it, and I actually can't think of a single reason why India should have it. I can't think of one good reason other than other than they want it. But
well,
do the fans want it?
The Telegraph are reporting actually in the last 24 hours that England are set to get the next 3. So good result. Well, I actually think that's too many.
There you go. England 3 more chances to have a home final. No, look, I've got to say, obviously the first one was COVID down in Southampton. The last one at the Oval, that was I guess it was coming out of COVID. It was 2023, wasn't it? So but that was great. But the one in Lords this week, I suppose these two teams, there are so many South Africans and Australians living in London specifically. But we spoke to people, Pezza, that have flown in from Cape Town or Joburg, or they've flown from Adelaide or Perth or Melbourne, but just like the vibe in the ground. Was just there's great banter between these two countries. I mean, it's still a cricket ground. There's going to be some pigs around, don't get me wrong. I'm sure somewhere at some time some blokes got it wrong, don't get me wrong. But for the people that I spoke to, they were having just an incredible fun time. And I know it's not very helpful when you weren't at the game, just be like, oh, were people at the ground having a nice time? I don't really care. Just tell me what happened in the game. But it was a world-class experience in the last 3.5, those 4 days where the game was on at Lords. And, yeah, I don't know, just it's been great being here. The weather's been good as well, so there's that. But long may it continue, I suppose.
Yeah. We always feel like we have to defend cricket, don't we? I mean, it was just fucking great. It's just a great game, great occasion. Lords has great history. There's a slope there. That's good. Yeah. I mean, see now you can't go past, like, you can't make a passing comment without it like drifting into cliche, but like you do stand there and go like, this is a fucking joke. Look at this ground, it's on a slant, and it's a square. Like the ground's actually a square. Yeah. Never see that in sport. Is it like, be like, oh yeah, it's actually long out to the pockets. It's like, that's because the shape of the ground is a square. Yeah. But that, I like it. It's just it was a piece of land gifted by probably John Wood. And they still play cricket there, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was really good. But I also have a few questions about the World Test Championship structure and the points, and I do think they need to revisit it. I'm not sure I'm
not sure we got the true and correct winners.
That's right, and we will continue to work on this until we get those winners.
Also, shout out to the people. Obviously, we're putting some stuff out there where it's pretty in your face, it's pretty arrogant, and we get it. But some of the people who just do not think we're joking at all. Some of the DMs have been very, very aggressive.
Yeah, but they're just doing their thing.
Humour's not for everyone.
Chat shit, get banged for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, speaking of the structure of the World Test Championship, Pezza, which you rightfully touched on, and we're not really sure about it.
Anymore. When you have a closer look at it, is what I'm saying.
Australia were not only in the game and were correct in making the final, they were ahead of the game, and South Africa were absolutely full value for the win. And I think it makes it worse. Like, we obviously blame elements like Graham Smith changing the pitch. I think the toss mattered. The conditions were what they were. But what hurts more is that there was no luck about the win. South Africa were just the best team. South Africa were the better team in the game. I mean,
you don't normally win a Test match luckily as well though. Like, there's ultimately nowhere to hide. But yeah, I mean, we were we were fortunate to be on the field afterwards, and without giving anything away, I sensed a decent level of anger, particularly towards the repeated failures with the bat. And I think that's where all the conversation about the Australian team's going to go. It's just like, mate, boys, any danger of a run, any danger of putting something on the board for us to bowl at, you know. So yeah, you know that, and that's ultimately what brought them undone. You know, like let's have it right. South Africa batted on a pancake on day 3.
Yeah.
I mean they did. It's not an excuse. In fact, good teams engineer themselves to be into positions to take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. You know, when we woke up in the morning, Nasser and Broady are on comms saying, like, day 3 is always great. Don't care that they've just lost 28 wickets. Yeah. And we were crow's feeding that. Just a couple of guys who played threes, who's never played at Lords before, just going, okay, boys, 28 wickets. I think I've seen the game before. I've played a bit myself.
Yeah, but I know where the tube stop is, so I've got a couple of thoughts myself.
And they were completely right. But South Africa, you know, Australia would have known that too, and did not have the ability or skill, once again, to engineer themselves to a position to take advantage of those conditions. And that opportunity was there.
I think the opportunity was there from a couple of guys in the first innings as well, because Aidan Markram puts on the performance of the game. I think Khawaja Rabada's 9 for obviously does not go without mention, who's just a special cricketer. But Aidan Markram's 136 or whatever it was, which was chanceless. Okay, it was a bit easier to bat. That's true, but it was still the difference in the game. Now, like with Steve Smith in the first innings, now Steve Smith's going to be punished here because he actually scored runs, and so why didn't he score 400? But he's on 66 and he nicks a half volley off Aidan Markram. You know, Bo Webster's on 72, and you know he's undone as well. You know, like Australia is... Okay, here's what's happened in the game. Australia in the third innings are 102 runs ahead with 10 wickets in hand, and they lose the game. They bowled the team out for 138 in the first innings, and they lose the game. That reminds me a little bit of the Headingley game in 2019 when Stokes does his thing at the end. But Australia bowled England out for 60-something, and they lose the game. You know, there's been a frustration for a while. I think there's probably been a frustration for a good part of this team's cycle. Not 2 years, I mean like 8 years. That... the runs are short, and you've just got perhaps one of the greatest bowling attacks in the history of the game. Wickets-wise, I suppose you could back that up. But it's, you know, either way, whatever, it's a good bowling lineup. And, you know, Australia lose... They were 4 for 67 at lunch on day 1. They lost 5 for 20 to end that first innings, and then they lose 7 for 43 in the third innings. This isn't... these aren't outliers. We've seen... Maybe that's a particularly strong case, but there's just been frustration, and the bowlers must feel it as well. It's like, boys... any danger.
Yeah, I mean, I want to push back on it a little bit because I think broadly that like it is correct, but everyone's really happy to point out that like we've got this great bowling attack and the batting is unders, and it's like staring you right in the face. It's like, yeah, like it's been great to bowl, you know, for the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's right.
And like,
that's right.
And this particular team with the batters that we've had have generally managed to. In those circumstances, score more runs than the other team's batters. So, in a zero-sum game sense, the batting's been quite good, but it's not been as good as guys 15 years ago batting on roads, you know? And we're like, well, why don't guys average 50 anymore? I believe JL asked that the other day. I
saw that, yeah.
But...
yeah, every leading run scorer in Test history has been the last.
It's not fun. It's not a fun point to make, and I believe there does need to be changes in the side as well, right? So that's going to happen. But I think the idea that like, you know, why can't we hold a bat anymore? It just needs a little bit of a pushback on like, well, no one's been able to hold a bat. You know, look what's happened to Kohli's average, you know, and I know he's had to play in India and stuff. I mean, it has been an era for the ball, so guys' numbers aren't going to look very good. But yeah, it's a matter of relativity. Aidan Markram, of the top 3 batters in this game, where I suppose you'd say there were 12 innings, he was the only one to make a contribution that wasn't a failure, largely. So, and it was obviously the decisive contribution in good conditions. But yeah, like there are a few mitigating factors to it, I think. But nevertheless, yeah, we you know, heads have to roll. That's actually just the ironclad law of media and responses to losing. There are guys who are going to be dropped now, and that's right too, because like you tend to be able to carry guys when you're winning games of cricket. But if that form actually results in a loss, then you've got to change.
Cummins said this, I don't particularly know why, but it does feel like a little bit of a fresh start. Fast forward a couple of years, you start maybe thinking about who's going to win. hopefully we make the final. Who's going to win that? And maybe do we want to get some games into them? Do we feel now's the right time to change, or do you hold with the team that got us to the final? We've got a couple of weeks before the first test of the West Indies, so we'll sit down and have a bit of a think after we digest this game. For me, I think a new World Test Championship cycle in some ways does feel like a bit of a reset. Yeah, if I was...
Marnus ain't feeling good listening to that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I thought... It wasn't that bad, was he? Like, Marnus was okay, I suppose. I mean...
Well, he actually, he probably batted for an hour in the first innings, didn't he? And
he faced 60 balls or something, yeah.
And those things helped Smith and Webster eventually get their innings started, but still... It's but you've had the least number of runs, so...
he averages 45 now, and he's played... I looked up this morning, I think it's 58 tests, averaging 45, and he's 30. Those raw numbers... You'd play for any team in the world with those numbers. Yeah. The problem is he averaged 60 3 years ago, and the fall off is being studied. And so that's and also I like the arrogance, and it's not arrogance. It's aspirational. Australia should be the best team in the world. I mean that's also why we get so angry when we lose any game, especially a game of consequence, especially in Test cricket. So I like that, but when we were talking about this beforehand, though, we were talking about, you look at what the batting lineup is in this game, and it's that doesn't look like it's got any future. But it was still at times probably enough to win the game. I mean, you look at, as I say, they're leading by 100 with 10 wickets in the third innings. At that moment in time, you're like, Australia just wins this game. South Africa, again, full value for the win, right? And you have to tip the old cap there because it was an incredible performance, but. Australia is so aspirational. You're like, no, we need to fix this immediately, and probably heads do need to roll because we've kept with the same guys for a while.
And I think rightly so. I think this people are pointing out this is an aging team, and the selectors have borrowed against the future a little bit. They've kept the guys that have continued to win for them. They've continued to reward them. I think generally when you are into your 30s, your mid-30s and so on, you don't really have a 3 to 4 year horizon in the team. You are evaluated on, in short-term performances, and if you keep them going, then you keep your spot in the side. And they've borrowed against the future because I think they've believed themselves to be in some kind of a premiership window, and they've largely... capitalised upon that relative to other teams, but they've let one go here, and I think that is cause now to nimbly move it to the next phase. Now, what that's going to mean is the team is not going to be as good now because we were enjoying the fruits of the present, but there is pain ahead, and I reserve the right to get very upset about that pain, even though I've enjoyed now.
We've been talking for the last year or so about the bad times are bad times.
The bad times are
coming. The bad times are here, but
luckily only England's coming out this summer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm sure things will calm down then. No, but baby out with bathwater stuff. But I was fine.
Never really understood it.
I like.
Why am I throwing bathwater out?
I liked the team. I used to like the team and the blokes.
Yeah.
But it was fine. I was getting bored at the same time with the team. Don't get me wrong, but I was fine.
Which is the highest level that you can attain as a cricketer.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm bored of this.
Your nation being bored of you.
Give me something new. But now they haven't won the thing, especially from such a winnable position. South Africa played well, etc. That I'm like, well, was it all worth it?
Disclaimer of a political ad.
Was it all worth it? Yeah. And this is the great thing about Australian cricket, Pezza, because I think a lot of people are happy for South Africa. Arrogant position to be in. We've won things in recent times.
And the thing, and look, what you need to understand is that I understand cricket. So, I understand, that the heartbreak of '92 and the miscalculations of 03 or whatever, and of Grant Elliott and stuff. I mean, I'm a bit of a buff when it comes to history and cricket. So I'm very happy for the Rainbow Nation and everything they've gone through politically and the turmoil.
Reminds me of the '96 World Cup when Sri Lanka won. That one was a really important win for them. It sort of got their cricket going.
Just off the back of what was happening.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't give a fuck. I want lollipop in pocket.
The amount of people that have written stop calling it the golden lollipop, is disrespectful.
Oh my god, yeah, sweet.
Jesus. Anyway, I mean, here's another problem though, because we all want new guys. Let's have a look at something new now. All the guys want to bat 5. I think Constance will play now, right? I think that's going to happen.
Great result for Constance.
It's hard to figure out with this game being so high profile what it all meant leading up to, because like Smith was in New York with schooner scorer, and he's had a pretty good game. And
Smith too.
And Cam Green was scoring hundreds, batting at 5 for
Gloucester
Twos. You know, so it's like that seems like it was good prep. So I don't know what's good. Like, you know, Usman's getting out the same way, but he just scored his 2 tests ago. He got his highest ever test score. So I feel like there still might be some runs there, but where are the runs? You know, is it easy in the West Indies? Do those runs mean anything? You know, like it's not like I know that I want change, but I don't know what the change is. I suppose I think I want to see Inglis, but again, I don't know where, because Bo Webster's, since he's come in the side, has been just about the best player when he's played. So I don't know, so he's still playing.
Well, it's pretty clear that they're going to drop Marnus, So he'll go. McDonald was pretty well in Khawaja's corner actually the other day, saying that he's an important player. He's essentially given him to the end of the Ashes. Things can change very quickly there. I think players at that age are probably generally on a 2-test basis. You know what I mean? But they obviously see the importance of Khawaja at the top of the order, particularly if it's now the Constance era of opening the batting. I mean, they've lost this game, so now we all reserve the right to go back to them keeping David Warner on 2 years ago as well, and all the other mistakes that have been made there. But yeah, I think they look at it's. I think what's kind of interesting is that the philosophy they've taken is that they want the 6 best batters, will put them in any position, and for a couple of years now they've been retrofitting middle order players into opening batters, and it largely hasn't worked. I mean, you could go even as far to say, if you ask Usman Khawaja, he doesn't consider himself an opener first and foremost. He'd love to bat down the order because you score more runs there, but he has done it successfully. But even beyond that, they've tried Head there. They've tried Nathan McSweeney there. Cameron Green's gone to number 3. It didn't look great. Did he get some good balls, or did the balls look good because he wasn't really ready for it? Marnus has now, been out of position. Do they have to reevaluate the philosophy behind this? Do we need to look at the altogether less sexy, uglier, workman-like opening bat, who is a number 3 bat, who's a specialist in terms of dealing with the new ball? Have we discarded Harris and Bancroft and those guys? Because you talk about a top 6 for the West Indies, it's probably just about doable. Especially if Smith misses the first test, they've indicated Head might bat there, so you're looking at Head, Constance. Maybe Green's at 3. Maybe Khawaja's at 3. Green 4, Inglis 5, Webster 6. Something like that. Do you say to Josh Inglis oh, mate, I know you're batting like a world-class talent. The spots available for you are in the top 3. He might just say just wait. I'll just wait. Hey,
Yeah, everyone's old as well. Think about the guys that have been in the squad the last few years: Renshaw, Harris, Bancroft. You mentioned. Howard's McSweeney. He's not old. He's been in his 20s. But there's no sort of standout candidates, especially in the spots where we want, and also just how hard there are no standouts because it's so hard at the moment to bat in Australia against the new ball. Nobody wants to do it for good reason. So, Cam Green obviously scored his runs at 5 in the lead up to this game. Cam Green's an interesting one as well because he just seemed to unlock something in New Zealand, and then gets a stressy, so he doesn't play for ages. They want it to work so much, and everyone can see the talent and what it could be, but he almost can't get into his ideal position, which I'm going to guess would be number 4 until Smith retires. Meanwhile, Smith's importance is increasing exponentially at number 4.
We could sell some stuff if we move Smith to 3, but that would be changing him out of the position. We can't do that.
There is so much musical chairs going on with this team, and it's still a good team. It's still going to win heaps of games. You'd think. But
you got to remember, like this was meant to be Pekowski's position as well. They have lost people that had been lined up to open the batting. Under extenuating circumstances a few times.
Yeah. So then then you start fantasizing. Then it's like Pekowski and let's say Constas. I mean, Constas did come from nowhere last summer. You have to remember that. He's only played 17, 15, 16, 17 first-class games.
Yeah, and have we gone too soon on calling him a generational talent?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like, it's his spot now. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you get into this stuff where your team doesn't do well and you start getting into hypotheticals that are based on very lowly tested premises,
Yeah.
Which is good. I think their plan the whole time has been I think let's get to the end of the Ashes and then we'll put a broom through the thing and have a few shit summers against low opposition that we've structurally created.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe take out some private equity in the Big Bash so we can talk about that and blood a new team. We'll miss out on a final or two and and then blokes better be averaging 50 or it's, Argus review.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they might change the decks in Australia after this team.
Well, I was gonna ask about decks, did maybe batters would be like, mate, any danger of a decent deck?
I'd say that England's top 7, say, they'd be up there with one of the best in the world, probably, in terms of capabilities.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Depends who you listen to, yeah.
Yeah, but they also play on the way they've gone about it is to make their decks flatter here in England. So, and that's the way they want to play, and they've been successful so far doing that for the most part. So, that's kind of the interesting thing about how their approach is going to work in Australia because the decks are so difficult, though. It's sort of it's not quite Constas, because that was sort of, baseball inverted commas on steroids, really, and chaotic and funny. But, it'd be interesting to see if that approach works. But I wonder when the great quicks step away from Test cricket, if they'll go back to making the decks flatter, and then all the guys will average 50 in first-class cricket again. It would make sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Just get a few guys about rockets, and then we'll be fine. Get it through the chest.
Well, what's for sure is
I want that now. That's exciting.
Yeah.
The future's exciting.
Yeah, we need to start building serious 95 mile per hour speed.
Yeah,
and that's how I talk now that I'm in London.
Yeah, in miles. Yeah.
But I talk in miles and imperial measurements. But what is for sure is that particularly given Andrew McDonald has said what happens in the West Indies won't really have much bearing on the Ashes because they're just different conditions, and he said that probably 2 or 3 games of Shield cricket ahead of the Ashes will have a bigger bearing. So we might have one of the biggest bat offs in the last 10 years. Now, I know every summer it's obligatory that we have a bat off for one position.
Yeah.
But how many positions are going to be open? With it's like the IPL has a mega auction, so it's a mega bat off, and we've all had them.
I know. Khawaja's been given a bit of a sort of runway to make it to the end of the Ashes, but if he fails 3 times in the West Indies and then it's a weak Shield season, it's still a long way to go right into that first Test match. But what is interesting is that this one Test and the way it's sort of fallen over for Australia is maybe it's a good thing for the Ashes. Maybe they'll be forced to make a change that they otherwise wouldn't have done.
No, there's nothing good about it.
But I reckon the Aussies in the dressing room, what they would think about it is it's like. Markram's played a great innings. We lost the toss, and we were pretty close. I reckon.
I think they'll think we fucked it, and that we were.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, and that we're maybe a little underprepared.
I think Cummins might have said in the press yesterday they were very well prepared. So I mean, what's he going to say? Yeah, I should probably.
The proof's in the pudding with the batters. I think with a bunch of those dismissals. You can't really say any of them were we're fully locked in. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah. But that's what happens, and it's it's a one-off Test match, and they hedge their bets on these things. They didn't get the mace. Play on.
When is the first Test in the West Indies? 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's soon. It's soon.
Because obviously the Headingley Test match starts on Friday here in the UK with India. Sorry, we're just figuring it out on the fly here.
Yeah,
when's the cricket on, mate?
Yeah, and
people already know this answer as well, so that's good.
Yeah, and I haven't even got it with the search. Haven't even got it with the search. 26 June, 10 days.
Okay,
we see Higgins styles.
Okay, okay. Well, I guess we'll look forward to the unveiling of the new Test captain, because Cummins has to go. That's pretty obvious. Yeah. I mean, that's Hazelwood's first loss in the final, isn't it? And he's the first loss in a final. And you think about the bowler. I mean, the bowler's very smug in the dressing room. It's being like, fucking hell. I mean, Stark's had a great game. He had a couple of drop catches. Obviously, one that broke Steve Smith's finger, but there was one in the first innings as well of Carey. He's batted for the second longest time in his career in a game. He basically got them to a total which they thought they'd be able to defend. Maybe if Smith takes a catch, maybe they go on and win. I don't know. Maybe.
We didn't even get South Africa into gastroc territory. No. That was the problem.
No. Although the fans in the stadium were counting every single run. They were there. They were edge of this. They were edge of seat. Every single leg by, like 7 to win, 5 wickets in hand. They're like, come on, we can do this now. Yep. So I think you guys are okay. Anyway, it's been a hell of a week. Anything else you want to talk about with the cricket match?
Thanks for those who enjoyed our collaboration with Schooner Scorer. We certainly enjoyed it.
Yes, we did.
And people are looking forward to us doing something with Finn versus history as well, which I encourage everybody to listen to that.
I'd be giving that one a go.
If you haven't heard of Finn versus history, Finn Taylor, Horatio Gould, two of the funniest, two of the funniest guys on the circuit, comfortably. Finn's got some unbelievable things online, and we were privileged to be invited to their studios to sit down with them to record an hour of history of the Ashes. And it's not often you get to sit in the room with people and they're going to say stuff more insane than what you've said. And I haven't laughed so hard in a long time. So I very much encourage people to tune into it for what they say mainly. And
shout out to the boys from The Upshot as well. We did a podcast with them the day before. We did that one. That was more circus styles than TV.
Yeah, it was. But it was on Bozza.
Yeah, on that show, The Circus and the Great Cricket, it's actually the same two people. So that does help. But that was on Mark Bosnich. So I think that's coming out in the next week or so as well, if you want to get around that and the boys. So, thanks to everyone that's come and said hello as well.
People say good day,
Yeah, so many Saffers asking for photos and TVs out windows, and it was just, it was.
Oh, yeah. We were walking around the ground afterwards.
It was good chat. It was funny. It was, shockingly, in real life, no one mean to you online. Couple of cunts knocking about.
So, do you remember those people when we were coming off the field going, "Throw your TV out the window"? Yeah. That was awesome. So don't worry, people gave it to us if that's what you wanted.
Yeah, and they have, No, I was on the option. I'm the option.
If you're watching on
Hyde
Park is one of the biggest parks in the fucking world.
And we've deliberately removed ourselves to right in people's way. Just a couple of fucking toffs knocking about. I'm just going to walk through here. Just going to walk through. All good. 1-0 England, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We're going to go back to the colony tomorrow, Pezza.
That's all you need.
Before we get into the England and India Test Series, this episode is brought to you by SwiftX. SwiftX is an Aussie crypto exchange. You can trade over 450 different cryptos, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. The SwiftX difference is it's an easy-to-use platform with insights and educational resources to help you start your investment journey. Pezza, we've spoken in the past about how they got behind the Sydney Thunder, the Sydney Sixers, Bubba Azam's Sydney Sixers no less, Brisbane Lions, and the NRL at large. Now they've got a demo mode on that website, Pez. If you're new to crypto, and you can, if you are. I am very new. Don't worry about that. You get $20 in Bitcoin for new customers only by using the link in the show notes of this episode. So I've been using the demo mode, Pez. I haven't tipped in.
You're good with your money like that. You didn't want to.
I'm testing the waters.
Yeah,
I'm testing the waters. Last time I checked, I'm down. I am down.
Yeah.
So.
No, so yeah.
Are you down as well?
Oh yeah. I just brought it up.
But you put in real money.
Yeah. So all right. Yeah. So look, people are going to hear that us doing something with crypto, and they're going to they'll get their crow's feet about it, and that's all good.
Because we're crypto bros now.
And we're crypto bros, and we've never resolved from that. And we've always been very clear about that.
Always have been, always will be.
We looked at it. We looked at the opportunity to do it. First thing to call out about SwiftX is it's a platform. It's an exchange. This isn't. Look, all I'll say when it comes to whether it's a Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin or
Fartcoin.
Okay, is that actually
one?
So, yeah. Right. Yeah. All of these cryptocurrencies is Dior. Do your own research on it. Zero. You're getting zero from us on that. That is a massive wasp right there.
Hey, waspy.
But SwiftX is if you look, and also do what you like with your money too. By the way, if that's what you want to do. But if you do want to if you want to invest in cryptocurrency, make or lose money, SwiftX is good. Like, SwiftX is a good platform. I downloaded it. I've never invested in crypto before, but I downloaded it. I put some money in. Not heaps. Don't worry about that. I picked 4 coins. I put equal amounts of money in. Oh, you did that, did you? What the fuck, yeah. And I'm up on 2 and I'm down on 2. That's what happens. Overall, down though, right?
Sinatra style. That's life.
And I am. I guess you'd call me a day trader. But this is the point: is if it's what you want to do with your bunts. SwiftX is good. It is for someone who knows 3/5 of fuck all about this stuff. It is a very intuitive platform. So I'm saying you can download it, you can understand it. It gives you a little your dashboard. The dashboard tells you how you're going. Much better than my cricket, ever could. And can tell you what's happening with the other cryptocurrencies. A little bit. As Higgins was saying, if it's if it's toe in the water stuff, it's a demo mode. So, that's this is an exchange. This is an actual exchange. It's a platform through which to do the trading.
As opposed to a Patreon show, which is an information exchange.
Well, yeah,
we are just we're the mere vehicles.
Mainly,
yeah. We're the mules. You can join over 850,000 Aussies who trade with SwiftX. All right, England against India. The first match starts on Leeds on Friday, of course. I said before, we'll be covering that series along with the West Indies and Australia. We mentioned last week that the series trophy was to be renamed from the Batowdi Trophy to the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. Now, according to Crickbuzz, Pezza, Sachin spoke to the BCCI and the ECB and requested that Batowdi be kept in some way. The reference to his legacy be kept in some way. It seems now that there'll be a Batowdi medal. Am I saying that correctly, Batowdi? Am I saying Batowdi?
I think Batowdi is flying, yeah.
Yeah. He was a guy who played for India.
He played for both, I'm pretty sure. That which is why it was so special.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It seems now that there'll be a Batowdi medal awarded to the player of the series or perhaps the winning captain. So Sachin has stepped in. It's funny actually because Jimmy Anderson last week gave quotes saying like it was a complete honour to be to have the trophy named after him. He had a great legacy with Sachin, great memories. So to have a trophy of such a big series named after him was such an honour. And Sachin says we should try and keep that old name. So I'm going to guess that Sachin's got a couple of things in his name knocking about. Obviously,
take it or leave it.
There's a fucking statue of him at his home ground in Mumbai.
Yeah. Or, I mean, it could be Alpha Batowdi in the family too. Like, oh, man, just flick him a medal. Man. just like that.
Batowdi potato.
Yeah, something in it.
Something there. Yeah. India had a closed-door intra-squad match. Probables, I'm guessing. Gambhir was not there as he flew home during a family emergency. I believe his mother was hospitalised, but it's understood that she has since recovered, which is good news for the Gambhir family. The teams held a minute silence as well for the fallen from the that Air India disaster, which is just a horrendous, awful thing. It's been a bit of it's actually been quite a big build-up as test series go these days, Pezza. Obviously back in the day, someone was telling me, I think it was actually our friend Ali Martin, and we know about Ali, don't we? Well, I think it was Ali.
More recently,
It was who was telling me that when the Aussies came to Australia, the Aussies came to England in 92 or 93, whenever that Ashes was, I guess it was 93, right? Matthew Hayden was on the tour and he didn't play a test match, but he scored 1,000 first-class runs. So, point being, like back in the day, he used to play warm-up games. They played games in between test matches to keep it tuned up. It was a big deal. A national side playing against the counties, etc. These days, never happens, of course. But India's actually been here for now, I guess, since the end of the IPL.
Hello. Oh, so close.
Can I pat that dog? That's a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
That's going to be a bit like the dog I'm getting, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'll take that one. Anyway. So like they've been here since it gets to the end of the IPL, but
well, you don't normally hear of like Indian men's teams taking time to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
It would be good if they were playing like actual games, but they've been here for a little while, longer than they normally do. I mean, with the Australian team, everything's going to change. I think it's a disgrace they haven't been training. I think it's a disgrace they don't do practice games as well. That's because they've lost. And look at how India's doing it, for example.
Yeah, that's right.
They've been in the country for quite some time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There was two unofficial test matches. They played an intra-squad game. So I guess when they lose by an innings in the first Test match, we'll be surprised, and I say they should have rested players. But but I'm trying to figure out what's the series about, because there's already a few narratives. Obviously, England's project is just fascinating, generally speaking. It still feels like it's all leading to the Ashes, even though this is the next biggest series, especially at home. So that's exciting. It's always exciting watching England play anyway. But then the new axis under the Gambier, and Gambier sort of got his wish there, but I think he's sort of got rid of the old blokes, and it's a new Shubman Gill era. Bumrah only playing 3 Test matches-ish. It feels like it's going to be hard for India, but I can't decide if the series is about India or England. Maybe it's just about both teams.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
It's about South Africa.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think there's so many cricket lovers in England as well. I mean, they'll enjoy the series in and of itself, and I think a lot of people in England are really excited to see Jasprit Bumrah on the shores and what he can do.
Yep.
A bona fide grade of the game at the peak of his powers. I think this Indian team is going to be really interesting to watch in the post-Kohli and Rohit era, and of course, for England, it is a bit of a build-up to the Ashes, but and they're expected to win. They, as Mark Butcher said on our show with him, they don't often lose in the summer. England, it'd be interesting to see Jofra come back. So he's slated, isn't he, from the second Test?
Is it the second Test? Is it okay? Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I've got those details wrong there. And Joe Root's at the peak of his powers.
Yep.
Ben Stokes should be able to bowl again. So England are their entire project is really is building to that crescendo as well, of which this is this is part of it. I actually think people will expect India to drop a few pegs without Kohli and Rohit, and I'm kind of seeing it the other way.
I agree.
I think you just never know they're both legends of the game, but you just never know the staidness that sometimes the same faces can have on a team when it's not been succeeding very well or very much. So it might be fresh and free, and guys might be super ready for it to be their turn to be the stars of Indian cricket. I mean, there's going to be some hungry guys there.
It's interesting one who they've brought in, because Karen Nair is going to bat in the middle order, who has a good first-class record. Well, that's fine, but wouldn't say he's sort of one of the. He's like one of the guns of Indian cricket necessarily, and they've got.
I think they've always believed in him.
He
went away, he figured it out, and he's back. And they're like, okay, you can come in.
I'm unaware of Sai Sudhasan's record, but it seems like
I think he's like 40s in first-class cricket.
Okay. Well, that's impressive, obviously.
Yeah. There's a lot of IPL stuff with him though.
That's my point. Yeah. So I'd love to see Shreyas Iyer in the team. I just think he's such a good, and he's a leader as well. I just that makes more sense.
We have heard some chat about that.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, but I suppose for India, they have only won one of the last 8 Test matches, which can only put that through an Australian lens as a fan of that team. Sometimes that would be absolutely diabolical if that happened, especially losing 3 Test matches at home. I mean, what happens, but. I feel now like if they drop this series or they lose heavily to England, I wonder what that means. I wonder if there's another reset coming for them. I feel like a reset has already happened for them, because they've had to get past the Kohli Rohit years. But England are going to be hard to beat at home. You look at the batting. The batting looks just awesome, to be honest. Duckett, Crawley, okay, but between that and Bethel, I think Bethel just has to play for me. Ollie Pope, Root Brook. Root Brook is up there with some of the best 4 and 5 that you're going to get in world cricket, I reckon, at the moment, especially on flat decks. So that's where we get to the wicketkeeper and the captain. So that's going to be hard. And if Bumrah doesn't play 2 Test matches, or he doesn't play 1 Test match, that does seem like an avenue for England to succeed in those games. But I guess my point being, how many more games can India lose? Because India. They were just so good for so long. Maybe what's happening to them is what's going to happen to the Australian team. If you have a great team, which India did, especially at home, and then you lose some guys, and then it's hard.
And if you go to 2 tiers of Test cricket, then they're going to have to drop down to the second tier as well.
To the championship.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking forward to that. And
parachute payment.
So when I say we're covering that series, that means we'll be doing our dailies. We'll be doing the first one from home, obviously, before we fly back over for those live shows. So... plenty coming on the channel. Sorry for the value, etc.
Sorry for the value of doing dailies for England versus India as well as West Indies versus Australia.
I do think that's going to be easier once we're here, though, because I think the games finish here
Yeah,
at
but
11 p.m.
and that's why I'm issuing an apology for the value.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. The Women's World Cup is on starts September 30. The opening game is India against Sri Lanka in Bengaluru. Australia's first game is against New Zealand in indoor. India and Pakistan are going to be in Colombo, in Sri Lanka, obviously, for as a neutral venue, as those two countries cannot play home or away with each other. So neutral venue there in Colombo. Pakistan will actually play all their games in Colombo, now that I say that. And the final is on November 2 in either Bengaluru or Colombo. So now the importance of this series, Pezza, we actually saw the captain yesterday. And
she was relaxed.
She was relaxed, but
said a bit.
We should have said there's a lot of pressure on you right now because your team.
I think it was implied
of the men team.
I think it was implied.
Yeah, when we said nothing.
There was a moment where we each said goodbye to each other, nice little, cuddle, and then we both started walking in the same direction, and it just had to be called out.
Yeah,
it was like, now we're just going to walk at the same pace. So she just decided to veer off to go to another direction.
To her husband.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fair enough.
Which is fair enough.
Pez of the Big Bash draft, Barbara Azam has joined the Sydney Sixers in the pre-draft because everyone knows how that works. I saw Jofra Archer is in the draft along with 50 other Englishmen. English players are always good value when they come up to Australia in the Big Bash. Now Barbara Azam is. I feel like the Pakistani players were all in the draft last year and none of them got picked up. But Barbara Azam is now picked up in the pre-draft, so he is definitely going to be contracted.
Well said.
He's definitely going to be contracted to the Sydney Sixers.
They can definitely put they can use AI and Photoshop to put a Sixers jersey on his face, and then their Instagram follow account can grow.
Yep. I saw Fabrizio Romano's "Here We Go" on Twitter, and then an AI image of Sydney Sixers' very own Barbara Azam. So look, it's
what grade club's he playing for?
Hey, that's a good question.
Now we're talking.
That's a good question. You go back to West with Harris Ralph.
True.
Twos.
Well, they started him in twos.
Started him in twos.
Yeah. Starting twos at West, Bubba. We'll go from there.
Yeah, and we'll have a look at you because we've got a couple of young guys coming through.
Yeah.
So anyway, look. To be fair, it's a world-class player.
It's awesome. It's a great face.
If the Pakistani players can start playing in the Big Bash, I mean, that's just another big lift because the Big Bash, as we want to talk about in a second, needs a lift because I want to talk about the MLC, if that's okay, which is on at the moment. So it's expanded to a 34-game tournament. It's moved to earlier June as it plans to cement its place in the calendar. This obviously overlaps at the moment with the Blast. But
beforehand, it was the 100, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now it's competing with the Blast, and the players are pretty good. So there's two more teams that are going to be added to it in 2027. It's either going to be Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlanta, or Toronto. Those are the ones that are in the mix. So the New South Wales High Performance is with the Washington Freedom. Cricket Victoria are strategic partners with the San Fran Unicorns. The new team that's going to be coming in, that's Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Toronto. One of those new teams is going to be backed by New Zealand Cricket as investors. The games this year are in the Bay Area, Florida, and Texas. The first game people might have seen was at the Oakland A's Stadium and the former Oakland Raiders Stadium, the Coliseum.
The Oakland Coliseum.
Bit of Billy Bean stuff. So Forbes said this. The MLC salary cap of $1.1 million per team has not changed over the short history of the tournament, with top players earning around $175,000, that'd be US, for a minimum of 5 games. That rivals the highest figure per game in T20 leagues outside of the IPL, which is obviously a lot. So 175 for sort of minimum 5 games is a pretty good bunch. And having spoken to the players that we have that play in the MLC, they love it. they love going there. So it's obviously been picked up by 7 mate, right? Or 7 plus.
I'm not sure where they're showing it because we've been here, but 7 got it, yeah.
7 picked it up. So it's now being streamed into Australia. So the Aussie players that are playing, Warner, Matt Short, Fraser McGirt, Cooper Connolly, Tanvir Sangha, Glenn Maxwell's the captain of Washington Freedom, I think it is. Xavier Bartlett, Mitch Marsh, Jason Berendorf, Mitch Owen. Steve Smith is contracted with the Washington Freedom. Ponting coaches the Freedom.
He was going to go in between this and West Indies.
Okay,
now he won't.
Okay. Cummins is contracted with the Unicorns, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think he's going to be playing, but and then you look at basically the West Indies team plays in this. I've noticed a couple of Afghanistan players have been granted visas to play in America. Obviously, not particularly easy for Afghans to get visas in the US, but some of them are. There are very good players. Faf du Plessis, a captain of the Texas Super Kings, I think. Like, you look at the quality of the players they can put out, and don't forget Corey Anderson.
Course.
America's very own. Texas Corey, they call him, despite him playing for San Fran. So, you look at the quality of the players, you look at the window it's got, and the players like going there, plus the bunts knocking about. Different states, I suppose, and now New Zealand cricket are keeping an interest in this, a vested interest in this tournament. It feels like it's going to grow, and it's probably already bigger than the Blast, whatever bigger means, because there's no crowds really. I mean, you look at the stadium, like the Oakland Coliseum the other day. It was it's about a third full, or 2/3 empty.
Yeah, but it still looked good on TV. The ground looked good. Looked better than what even the World Cup in America looked like. Why didn't they just play it there?
Yeah.
Not New York, I guess. That's
yeah.
Neither was Long Island.
In the cricket itself, Finn Allen hit 151 not out, 19 sixes in that. That's the most ever in a T20. Hit 151 off 50 and 100 off 34 balls. So that's what's going on over there. I suppose it's just interesting because everyone has an interest in America in capitalist markets, and cricket is no different, I would say. So all these combining for a pretty interesting tournament, blowing up, especially if it's now going to run off the back of the IPL. If Indian players start going there, then that's just going to be the second biggest tournament in the world.
Yeah.
Cricket in America has had so much promise. They've tried for so long, but as India rises with its economy, it feels like there's opportunities for cricket in America, which I suppose ultimately is a good thing. Cricket in America, it just feels like it's Indian cricket in America. You know what I mean? Anything else you want to talk about in the show?
Oh no, brother. No.
No.
I think we've done well.
Yeah.
Apart from hearing from the punters.
Yeah, that's right. All right, ask TGC. Jerry wrote in. He said, "We'll be giving this episode a miss. Can't do it."
And that's good to see. That's good for the health of Australian cricket. That kind of attitude as well. I can understand. A few people have got in touch to gripe with us about being magnanimous. A few people have said where's the doubling down on arrogance? That's what I pay you for. So I'm glad that attitude is the bedrock of Australian cricketing success.
Yeah.
It's
that's right.
It's hostility, it's exclusion, and it's arrogance. Okay. And that's why there's just been a general sense of unease around this Australian men's team for the last 5 or 6 years, particularly under this woke Cummins.
Yep. I'm a schooner. Get me out of here. Says 3-0 to the Southern Hemisphere brothers in the WTC. Fuck off. Yeah, that's right.
I
thought of that.
Yeah. Southern Hemisphere cricket's always been superior.
It's always been superior. Yeah,
I've always said that.
That's right. Yeah, super cricket and all that stuff. All that sort of stuff. Sideco said when I said I wanted to feel something again, I was more thinking justifiably arrogant, not this begrudging respect and acknowledgement of the broader good brought about by this result.
See, told you.
Main order of business, however, I'm ordering a couple of things for the Ashes in advance. Let me know if anyone wants to take advantage of bulk ordering economies of scale. Main things it looks like we're running low on: young, dumb, stores of cum, coin tosses, pikes, brackets, shortage imminent. I think we're doing fine on some blokes. We'll let you know if anything changes on that front. Okay. Anything else we need? In the
that's a clarion call for youth. And new selector. That's just the reset Cummins has been talking about. Really, he didn't put it in those terms, but it's essentially what he was saying.
I was very disappointed to see one of the selectors wearing a team polo. That's all I'm saying. And we saw where he was sitting.
Yeah, he was sitting. He was talking to the players after the game as well. Which again, I don't
understand how that benefits the team.
Well, it says it all.
It doesn't.
It says it all.
It says nothing, but it says it all.
Yeah, we know about him.
Plumbing says final was all right. I shut the power off at the switch 2 milliseconds before the winning runs.
I've done that.
Heard Marmaraj or whatever his name was in tears or something. Andy Markram played well, I guess. Still averages 30 odd. George Bailey hanging from a tree when, what, and where is. Fucking hell. Jesus. It's just a sentiment of the nation. Yeah. The good cricketer said, would you say it's time for Australia to crack Doss's Stetson open and feast on the goo inside? I mean, the hat is getting bigger. I mean, the hat is getting big, but it's all part of the character now.
I'm coming good on it.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
Yeah, you come full circle on it.
I'm coming good on it.
When you see it, it's like it's a whole piece. I'm not sure about the piece, but it is a whole piece, you know. So, what's going on when you take off the Stetson? And I want to know what's going on. Maybe it is time to feast on the goo inside.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a call to feast on the knowledge that our great team, our actual great team, you know, what they have to offer.
I mean, is it? I mean, do we need to bake the older generation as well? I mean, they've been waiting so long for this, and I haven't heard shit from them. Where's like have they actually patched things up? Have they learned a lesson? These guys don't learn lessons.
Even just getting out in the press and being like, see.
Exactly. Just a face. Well, I mean, JL, like I said, with the greatest of respect, guys aren't averaging 50 in shield, and I'm glad that he offered the greatest of respect.
Unyielding respect.
Yeah, unrelenting.
Unwavering.
Yeah, unwavering. But where's everybody else?
Yeah.
Where's Mardo? Where's Crickzilla?
Yeah.
That's what we've been waiting for.
Aren't they two separate people, those? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, this is different.
You
Yeah,
mean Mardo, Crickzilla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, even Doss is just, you know. I want to hear from him.
Boxing instructor said, has getting used to our team winning almost everything fucked our brains in some way, like endorphin addiction or whatever? I feel like this should hurt more, but instead I just feel nothing. I don't know. I mean, that's a good way to cope, but I coming into the ground on day 4, I was flat.
Yeah.
I was flat.
I'm still flat.
Yeah.
I want to win. I just want another thing in my pocket.
Yeah.
Like, and I know it's like, yeah, but you've got enough, and you tell yourself that, but you're like, yeah, but it still feels so good, and I want that, you know, and I want the team to be good. And
smdg.com, patrons will know what that means. Why did Australia losing not fill the gaping hole in my heart of England being shit? Well, I think what's going to hurt even more is if England win that first test, then it feels like Australia's 2-0 down in the Ashes. You know? It feels like big changes are on the way.
Yeah, see, we had a few beers with some journos at one stage during the test in the evening, and there was, you know, there's some excitement there now that they can see, you know, like a creaking Australian team, some gaps appearing. And I think the point was made, like, do you understand, like, how any Ashes loss against England in Australia is intolerable, but it's especially intolerable and unacceptable now.
Yep.
I wonder if this Australian team might even, like, forego 1 or 2 games of golf, like, ahead of the
Holy
Ashes.
Shit.
Yeah, just ahead of the Ashes starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like, some of the bowlers may even play like a game of Shield or something like that. Because, you know, like, whereas against India it was like, look, we're going in underdone so we can come home strong. This time it'll be like, no one can forfeit any test against England at any stage.
Now
because if England had lost that series the way India did 3-1, they'd still release DVDs about Perth and on DVD. Like, do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah,
like, I feel like this loss is a bit like beware the wounded Cummins.
I do think it's a loss we had to have.
Yeah.
It's a shame it was a final, if I'm honest, and I would have preferred to win it and then lose something else. Maybe a West Indies test match or something, you know?
I just like... Yeah, I want to see what the riposte is.
Do you know how... I mean, because here's the problem, is that what hurts Australia the most is that England have won the most recent away series, right? We've been saying that for a while. It doesn't matter they haven't won a game in 10 years.
Home is the scariest series. Home is the scariest series.
Because,
it's like, you expect to win.
I know sometimes, you know, some teams win a series and they do open top bus parades for winning a home series.
Yeah.
That does happen sometimes. But what hurts Australia is that, like, you can just forego, like, the series where you've been whitewashed or haven't won a game, you know, and you can say, like, it doesn't count or whatever. Like, those things are all good, but they have won the thing that is most coveted, the away series.
Hiding to nothing, Australia.
There's going to be so many English out here, which is exciting and it's great.
Yeah,
it's going to be great for the stadium.
And it's great for the game.
It's good for the game, yeah, and it's nice to see people caring about Test cricket,
about Test
etc.
cricket.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I have got no interest in watching any of it because I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared the entire time.
And as has been established several times on this show, is like, once you've achieved a certain standard in sport in Australia, then nothing but transcending that standard is success, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this Australian men's team, they have beaten England 5-0, 4-0, 4-0 in the Ashes at home the last 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's only one thing they can do, and even then that will just be par. Like they either win 5-0, which is we feel nothing,
Yep.
or or it's a failure. And we know the team is old and England's kind of coming good.
Yeah, two of those games have to be by an innings.
Oh, 100%. Like this such have been the shellackings of the last 3 times. The team, it's almost impossible for the team to do something special in the series. So so England have every opportunity to do something special because they're coming from the lowest base possible. Australia's base is mathematically too high to succeed.
Mate, how do you ever get to a high as Australia winning 5-0 at the SCG, and 2 of your greats are chaired off the field and others are draping themselves in Australian flags?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you reach that high again?
That'll still be exhalations. Like if you like this time around, if it's like Usman and one
Smith.
of the bowls or something. Okay, Usman, Smith, and one of the bowls, let's say, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's happening.
Yeah.
It'd still be no exhalations. Like
No. Yeah.
What did he get?
Yeah.
What did Constance get?
I tell you, he was a good player, Doss.
Yeah.
And he loved his little mate, didn't he?
Yeah.
He loved his little mate. Yeah, hitting the winning runs for a 10-wicket victory.
Yeah.
And then they hug in the pitch.
Yeah.
And it's just like, thanks for the memories.
Yeah.
They sail off into the sunset.
Exactly.
Draping themselves in Australian flags and underneath the Southern Cross. They're singing the song in bars that night for hours and hours. Same team does that and be like, I've already been done.
Yeah.
I've already seen it.
Exactly.
I've already seen this one.
It's like, all right, so is this a team for 2 years' time? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so hiding to nothing. Actually.
Hiding to nothing. Okay.
I'm concerned.
22 PK says, I know how Lindy Chamberlain feels. South Africa have my trophy. And Carlos says, how's the rig on Big John? Yeah, one of the greats.
Yeah,
Bash.
big. Bash.
All right. Well, I suppose we'll fly home tomorrow. There's more coming out in the channel this week. Hey, get your Wasted Saturdays clips in, by the way. We'll be doing one. We might do one this week. I suppose by the time we get back, it's going to be late Wednesday night in Australia. So, you know what? We'll figure it out. But join us on Patreon, and we can give you behind the scenes of whatever happened on this tour, because we've hardly been out there at all. Actually, sort of quite a lot of hidden work going on. So patreon.com/great cricket if you want to join us there to get behind the boys for the Northern Summer. And UK fans, we'll see you guys back here in 2 weeks. We'll be just in parks dogging, I guess, for all eternity. All right. See you guys on the internet real soon. Cheers.